Welcome back to Awesome Possum Hobbies and Games. Today we're opening up a brand new Commander deck. This one's at Murders at Karlov Manor, and it is Deep Clue C. Let's go. So here we go with the one of the latest Commander decks at the Murders at Karlov Manor. This one is Deep Clue C, which is a green, white, and blue, and it's based on clue tokens and card advantage, which, if you know me, I love me some card advantage. Card advantage wins games 9 times out of 10. You know, mass removal wins some of the other times. Let's go ahead and open it up and see what's inside. These boxes are now up to $50 for a Commander deck, though I think a lot of the Commander decks are getting a little bit better than what I've seen previously. But for a price point of $50, man, you should be getting a little bit more for $50. So what's inside? You know, lots of cardboard, some tokens, some punch-out things, which I never find useful, and a little fold-out thing that has Mark of the Zodiac, and talks about the actual deck itself, and Morksa, the commander in the deck. And also in here you get a nice little cardboard deck box, which I always recycle those because they don't really hold up very well. And hey, look at that, collector's booster pack. And also inside here is a little popular Magic format, so if you're new to Magic, you can learn all about all the different kinds of Magic. And, you know, Commander's not the only thing that's played, though it's generally the only thing that's played at my local game store on a regular basis other than pre-releases, because it is the most popular format, it seems, these days. Let's go ahead and go over the Commander itself. If you look, it comes with a thick stock cardboard. Compared to the other one, it is about 3 times the thickness of a standard Magic card. Morksa, the Undersea Sleuth. 1 blue, 1 white, 1 green. It's a 2/3 legendary creature, Valdican Fish Detective. You have no maximum hand size. At the beginning of your upkeep, you get to investigate. Yes, you get a free clue token at the beginning of your turn as long as she's in play. Or he's in play. I can't tell. And whenever you draw your second card each turn, you get to put 2 +1/+1 counters on Morksa. Morska. It's a fun little card. I don't know. Let's see what else is inside it. Let's go ahead and move that aside. Sophia, Dogged Detective. 1 blue, 1 white, 1 green, 1 colorless. Is 3/4 legendary creature, human detective. And when this card enters the battlefield, create tiny legendary 2/2 green dog detective creature token with trample. And you pay 1, sacrifice an artifact token, put a +1/+1 counter on each dog you control. And then whenever a dog you control deals combat damage to a player, you get to create a food token and then create a clue token. So all kinds of stuff happens when you deal with the tokens. I think that might be the better Commander, but yeah, both of them work incredibly well together. Armed with Proof, 1 white, 2 colorless enchantment. It's a rare for this set. When Armed with Proof enters the battlefield, you get to investigate twice, and then clues you control are equipment in addition to their other types, and equip creatures get +2/+0 and then equip 2. Merchant of Truth, 2 white, 2 colorless creature, Angel Detective. It's a 2/5 flying, and whenever a non-token creature you control dies, you get to investigate, and then clues you control have exalted. Wow, that's incredible. So if you're getting a clue every single turn, that gets pretty badass, because whenever a creature you control attacks alone, that creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each instance of exalted among permanents you control. So if you've got 5 clues in play, your single creature is getting +5/+5. If you have more, it's going to get out of control pretty fast. Serene Sleuth, 1 white, 1 colorless. It's a 2/2 creature, human detective. When Serene Sleuth enters the battlefield, investigate. At the beginning of combat on your turn, investigate for each goaded creature you control. Then each creature you control is no longer goaded. Pretty cool. Detective of the Month. 1 blue, 2 colorless creature, human detective. Ascend. If you control 10 or more permanents, you get the City's Blessing for the rest of the game. As long as you have the City's Blessing, detectives you control can't be blocked. Whenever you, when you draw your second card each turn, create a 2/2 white and blue detective creature token. That can steamroll pretty fast. Follow the Bodies. 1 blue, 2 colorless sorcery. Gravestorm. So Gravestorm's an old mechanic. We haven't seen that since Future Sight. When you cast this spell, copy it for each permanent put in your graveyard from the battlefield this turn. And then you get to investigate, so you can create a clue token. Wow. Lots and lots and lots of clue tokens can happen if you have lots of things hit your graveyard that turn. But it's a sorcery, so it's not terribly game unbalanced. If it was an instant, you just board wipe me, I get a ton of clue tokens. Yikes. Tangle Grove Kelp. 2 blue, 5 colorless. It's a 6/6 artifact creature. Clue plant. It has ward 2. At the beginning of each combat, other clues you control become 6/6 plant creature tokens in addition to their other types until end of turn. Pay 2, sacrifice Tangle Grove, this card to draw a card. What? All those clue tokens you're making become 6/6 creatures till end of turn? That's nuts. Innocuous Researcher. 1 blue, 3 colorless creature. Centaur Detective. Parlay. Whenever this creature attacks, each player reveals the top card of their library. For each non-land card revealed this way, you investigate. Then each player draws a card. At the beginning of your end step, you may untap all lands you control. If you do, you can't cast spells until your next turn. At least you'll be able to untap your lands, especially if you have something like a stasis in play. That sounds pretty cool. On the trail, though, going back to this card, if you have stasis in play, great. You just still won't be able to cast counter spells, which is fine. On the trail, 1 blue, 1 colorless. It's enchantment, new rare from the set. When you draw your second card each turn, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. You might be able to get some extra value out of it. I don't know if it's worth it, but it's pretty cool. Knowledge is power. 1 blue, 1 white, 3 colorless. Creatures you control get +X/+X, where X is the number of cards you've drawn this turn. Ransom Note. We've seen this one before. This is a rare from this set, though. It is in multiple decks, which is interesting for a rare. It's an artifact clue. When Ransom Note enters the battlefield, you get Surveil 1. Sacrifice Ransom Note to pay 2 colorless. Cloak the top card of your library. Go target creature, or you draw a card. Aerial Extortionist. This is a reprint. 2 white, 3 colorless creature bird soldier. It's a 4/3 with flying. And whenever this card enters the battlefield or deals combat damage to a player, exile one of up to 1 target non-land permanent. For as long as that card remains exiled, its owner may cast it. So, when it enters the battlefield, you target 1 card, they cast it. You attack, they don't block. Guess what? Deals combat damage, you get to exile it again, make them cast it over and over and over. And whenever a player casts a spell from anywhere other than their hand, you get to draw a card. That's a really good card. Beanie Brax Zoologist. This guy is awesome. This is a reprint, much needed reprint, even though he was just printed earlier this year. 1 white, 3 colorless, legendary creature, elf druid. Convoke. At the beginning of your end step, if you can create a token this turn, you get to draw a card. That's a perfect include in this one. Farewell. Another fantastic card to have in this deck. 2 white, 4 colorless, sorcery. Choose 1 or more, exile all artifacts, exile all creatures, exile all enchantments, exile all graveyards. Choose 1 or all of them. Or, a combination of thereof. Fumigate. 2 white, 3 colorless. Destroy all creatures. You gain 1 life for each creature destroyed this way. Wow. The removal in this is really good. Organic Extinction. 2 white, 8 colorless, improvise. Destroy all non-artifact creatures. Yeah, there's a lot of good removal in this. Search the Premises. 1 white, 3 colorless. It's a rare from, this is a reprint. Whenever a creature attacks you or applies walking control, you get to create a clue token. Here's a reprint. I just ordered one of these recently, which I didn't realize it was going to be in this deck. I should do my research. 2 blue, 2 colorless, legendary creature, Merfolk Wizard. It's a 2/4. And when you draw your second card each turn, you get to create a 2/2 blue Drake creature token with flying whenever you draw your 5th card each turn. This card and Drakes you control get +X+X, whereas the number of X cards in your hand. You don't want to pay that 10 mana for those clues and get +X+X. Yeah, pretty good. Confirm Suspicions, 2 blue, 3 colorless instant counter target spell, and then you get to create 3 clue tokens. Ethereal Investigator, 1 blue, 3 colorless, creature spirits, flying, and when this card enters the battlefield, investigate X times, where X is the number of opponents you have. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, you get to create a 1/1 white spirit token with flying. Wow, good. Finale of Revelation, 2 blue, X, draw X cards. If X is 10 or more, instead shuffle your graveyard into your library, draw X cards from and top 5 lands, and you have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. Then you have to exile this card. Kappa Cannoneer, 1 blue, 5 colorless, artifact creature, turtle, warrior, 4/4, improvise. Ward 4, whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on this card, and it can't be blocked this turn. A good one. Mechanized Production, even better. 2 blue, 2 colorless, enchantment aura, enchant artifact you control. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a token that's a copy of enchanted artifact. Then, if you control 8 or more artifacts with the same name as another one, you just win the game. Clues. Nadir Kraken, 2 blue, 1 colorless, creature Kraken. Whenever you draw a card, you may pay 1 colorless mana. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature and create a 1/1 blue tentacle creature token. Shimmer Dragon. Wow, the hits keep on happening. Shimmer Dragon is a pretty good card. 2 blue, 4 colorless, as long as it has a 5/6 flying dragon. As long as you control 4 or more artifacts, Shimmer Dragon has hexproof. Tap to untap artifacts you control. Draw a card. Amazing included in this deck. Teferi's Ageless Insight, another great card draw. 2 blue, 2 colorless, legendary creature, legendary enchantment. If you draw a card, except for the first one you draw each turn, during your draw set, you draw 2 cards instead. Yeah, that's pretty incredible. Tezzeret, Betrayer of Flesh, great include. 2 blue, 2 colorless, legendary creature, Tezzeret. The first activated ability of an artifact you activate each turn costs 2 less. So yes, that clue, the first clue you activate each turn is going to cost you 2 less, enabling you to have your second card draw every turn. And then you add +1, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards unless you discard an artifact card. And then -2, target artifact becomes an artifact creature. If it isn't a vehicle, it has base power and toughness of 4/4. And then -6, you get an emblem with whenever an artifact you control becomes tapped, you get to draw a card. Incredible, great include. Thought Monitor, 1 blue, 6 colorless, 2/2 artifact creature construct. Affinity for artifacts, so the cost is reduced by 1 colorless for each artifact you have in play, and then when Thought Monitor enters the battlefield, you get to draw 2 cards. It's good to include. Hornet Queen, 3 blue, 4 colorless, 2/2 Death Touch, Flying Death Touch, creature insect. When it enters the battlefield, create 4 1/1 insect creature tokens with flying and Death Touch. I don't know why that's included, but yeah. Drell, Voli Recluse, I butchered that name. 1 green, 1 colorless, legendary creature, human druid, 1/2. When you draw your second card each turn, create a 2/2 green cat creature token. And then 2 blue, or 2 green, 4 colorless. Until end of turn, creatures you control have base power and toughness of XX, where X is the number of cards in your hand. This is a great include in this deck. Killer Service. This card just was printed recently. So this is a great Commander reprint, though, because it is a good card. 1 blue, or 1 green, 2 colorless enchantment. When Killer Service enters the battlefield, create a number of food tokens equal to the number of opponents you have. And then at the beginning of your end step, you may pay 2 colorless and sacrifice a token. If you do, create a 4/4 green rhino creature token. great include. Tireless Tracker, another great include in this deck. 1 green, 2 colorless creature in Human Scout landfall. Whenever a land enters your battlefield under your control, you get to create a clue token. And whenever you sacrifice a clue, put a +1/+1 counter on Tireless Tracker. Adrix Nev Twin Casters, fantastic include in this deck. This deck is incredible. 1 blue, 1 green, 2 colorless, legendary creature, Merfolk Wizard, or 2. If 1 or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many tokens are created instead. Yeah, that's pretty out of control. Shalene, Teller of Tales, 1 blue, 1 white, 1 green, 2 colorless, 2/4 legendary creature, Human Druid with Vigilance. And whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card, and then you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. And then you can pay 3 and tap it. Return target creature you control to its owner's hand. Man, this is such a good deck. Let's stop right here. This is such a good deck. Yeah, let's keep going. Disorder in the court, 1 blue, 1 white, X colorless. Exile X target creatures, then investigate X times, then return exile creatures to the battlefield tapped under their owner's controls at the beginning of the next end step. It's an instant. And it says at the beginning of the next end step, so it's not the beginning of your next end steps. Just be aware of that. Access Fractal Blue, another great include. 1 blue, 1 green, 4 colorless, 4/4 legendary creature, Fractal Flying. First time you would create 1 or more tokens during each of your turns, you may instead choose a creature other than SL Fractal Bloom and create that many tokens that are copies of that creature. So those nice little clue tokens are actually going to be creature tokens. Just make sure you're not doing a creature token that is legendary. Hydroid Crisis. Oh, it's so good. 1 green, 1 blue, X colorless. When you cast a spell, you gain half of X life, and you draw half of X cards, rounded down each time. It's a lot of life, a lot of cards. This card that used to be a standard staple, and it's still amazing, especially in Commander. And then Flying Trample. Hydro Crisis enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. Coma. This deck is so good. Coma. This is a card that usually is a kill on sight. It's 2 blue, 2 green, 3 colorless. This spell can't be countered. At the beginning of each upkeep, you get to create a 3/3 blue serpent creature token named Coma's Coil. Sacrifice another serpent, choose 1. Tap target permanent. Its activated abilities can't be activated this turn. Or Coma Cosmos Serpent gains indestructible till end of turn. Wow. Such a good card. Lotus Cryptozoologist. This is an auto-include in this deck. 1 blue, 1 green. Legendary creature, Snake Elf Scout. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you get to investigate. Tap, sacrifice X clues. Target opponent reveals the top X cards of their library. You may put a non-land permanent card with mana value X or less from among them onto the battlefield under your control. That player puts the rest of on the bottom of their library in a random order. Savella, Explorer, return 1 green, 1 white, 1 colorless. And this is a 2/4 legendary creature, Elf Scout. Parlay, tap, each player reveals the top card of their library. For each non-land card revealed this way, you get to add a number of green mana, and gain 1 life. Then each player draws a card. It's pretty good. Academy Manufacturer. Yes, this deck gets even better. 3 colorless for an artifact creature, Assembly Worker. If you would create a clue, food, or a treasure token, instead create 1 of each. So you get, instead of just creating 1 clue every turn, you create a clue, a food, and a treasure token. Yeah, and then Idol of Oblivion. That's pretty good auto-include in this deck. Cost 2. Tap it, draw a card, activate only if you create a token this turn, and then pay 8 colorless, tap it, sacrifice Idol of Oblivion to create a 10/10 colorless Eldrazi creature token. Inspiring Statuary. 3 colorless mana for an artifact, non-artifact spells you have improvise. So you can tap non-artifact spells to whenever you cast artifacts to reduce the cost by 1. Analysis. 3 colorless mana, artifact equipment, living weapon. So when it comes into play, you get to create a 0/0 black Phyrexian Germ creature token and then attach it to it. Equip creature is +1/+1 for each artifact and or enchantment you control. And it costs 2 to enchantment. So if you have 10 clue tokens, it is pretty much a 10/10 creature. So good. Psychosis Crawler costs 5. Psychosis Crawler has power and toughness equal to the number of cards in your hand. Whenever you draw a card, each opponent loses 1 life. Getting into the land and the commons. These are the rare lands. So Canopy Vista, it's a taps to reduce. It's a forest and plains, and then it enters the battlefield tap unless you control 2 or more basic lands. Exotic Orchard. Taps to add 1 mana of any color that, of a land an opponent can produce. Irrigated Farmland. It's a land that counts as a plains and island, and it taps. It comes into play tapped, and you can cycle it for 2. Another Prairie Stream, which is a plains island that enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. Scattergrove, another one of these lands that can cycle, but it's green and white. Skycloud Expanse. It's you pay 1 and tap it to produce a white and a blue. I'm not really a fan of those lands, but you know they have to have something in here. Spire of Industry. You tap to produce a colorless mana, or pay 1 tap and pay 1 life. Add 1 mana of any color. Activate only if you control an artifact. Which hopefully you will have lots of artifacts. Sungrass Prairie. Pay 1, tap it, green and white. Temple of Enlightenment, great include. Temple of Enlightenment enters the battlefield tapped. When it comes into play, you get to scry 1 and taps to produce a white or blue. Same as the one before, but it produces green or blue for Temple of Mastery. Another one, the Temple of Plenty, same as the one before, except it produces green and white. Swords of Plowshares, fantastic auto-include for any white deck. You know, these are all going to be uncommons, but you know, Swords of Plowshares should already be a rare. It's such a good card. We'll keep going and see if there's any of these uncommons that are worthwhile. Ongoing Investigation, 1 green or 1 blue, 1 colorless, and it's an enchantment. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you get to create a clue, and then pay a white or green and a colorless. Exile a creature card from your graveyard. You get to investigate and gain 2 life. Going. Graph Mole. 1 green, 2 colorless. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, you gain 3 life. Great clue. Ovenwald Mysteries. 1 green, 2 colorless. Enchantment. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, you get to create a clue. And then whenever you sacrifice a clue, create a 1/1 human soldier token. Wilderness Reclamation. At the beginning of your end step, untap all lands you control. Wow. That card is amazing. Card's a great include in this deck. Wave Sifter, 1 green, 1 blue, 3 colorless. When it enters the battlefield, you get to create 2 clues, and it can evolve. Let's keep going. Arcane Signet, great include. Zero Signet, Summit Signet, a Soul Ring, Talisman of Progress, Talisman of Curiosity, Talisman of Unity. Azorius Channery, which is the one that when it comes into play, you have to bounce a land back to your hand but it taps to reduce 2 mana. Magnifying Glass. Command Tower. Croissant Verge, a good land. Cycling Land. Path of Ancestry. Eloquent Tower. Seaside Citadel. And the rest are going to be all common lands. And some tokens, which is perfect for this deck. I bet it doesn't have enough clue tokens in here because you're going to be creating a lot more than just 1 or 2 clues. Come on, Wizards. Could have included just a few more tokens. Well, now that we have that deck done, let's go ahead and take a look and see what's inside the Collector's Boosters Sample Pack. Hope you guys are enjoying this video because, man, I'm thrilled about what's in this deck. Okay, there's an advertisement. Assemble the players. 1 white, 1 colorless. Enchantment. with the alternate artwork. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. Once each of your turn, you may cast a creature spell with power 2 or less from the top of your library. And then on the job, so no full art, which is a shame. You get just a uncommon foil. Well, I hope you guys enjoy this, and if you have a chance, make it out to your local game store and try out the new Murs at Karlov Manor, because it is a fun set to play. I had a great time playing last night. I hope you guys make it out and play some games, and until next time, keep them rolling!
And thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please take the time to like the video and subscribe if you'd like to stay updated. Have a great day, and keep them rolling.